Good evening. This is Jesse for HWE 340 Week 4 Journal. So kind of setting the tone for this week. I'm just finally got over COVID, which was a lot of fun. I wanted to go back to work, but I couldn't with all the symptoms and everything. But so essentially kind of my dad's a little bit skewed possibly compared to everybody else, because what I was experiencing respiratory and kind of how that drains the body. So when we first kind of did this exercise, we sat quietly for about 5 minutes. It was nice and calm. So typically with that, my resting heart rate is sitting around 50 to 55 beats per minute. That's like in a sitting state. We talk about overnight, the actual true resting heart rate is roughly anywhere between 45 to 51, depending on my day or my stress level going into bed. My respiratory rate, I actually have a Whoop strap, which does a lot of that analytical data for that, and I can kind of triggers when you might have COVID or be sickness and things like that. So typically, on the average, I'm anywhere between 14 to 16 breaths per minute. So I was sitting around the 15 when we were kind of calculating this. I'm kind of in that relaxed state. Muscles are good, calm, just relaxed. I actually was stretched before, within an hour before, so I actually felt pretty good. So with the exercise, we did 3 minutes of jogging in place and then 3 minutes of the push-up test. So actually, with the jogging in place, I kept it at a nice little moderate. So I think some of the data could change depending on your level of intensity of your metabolic conditionings, right? CrossFit Level 1 talks about the 3 different stages of like phosphagen, glycolytic, and oxidative. If I'm doing a nice long endurance pace, that's the oxidative. Then if I have the, phosphagen, we're looking at that nice burst, quick, get that immediate heart rate, and then the moderate intensity, as well as talking about the glycolytic. So over the 1 to 2. So I kind of maintained the nice little pace for that. And then with the 3 minutes, so Men's Health actually has a test for the 3-minute push-ups. So with that, I actually ended up getting into the excellent category. I scored about 117 push-ups within 3 minutes. Started off well, kind of with the military for about 65 for the first minute. And then I kind of was sitting about 105. And then that muscle fatigue kind of really kicked in. Didn't get much in that next round. What's nice about this test was the fact that I could rest. In the military and the push-ups for the 1 or 2 minutes, if you let go or kind of relax without being in the actual physically demanding state, your test is terminated. So that was actually a nice little luxury for me. Was able to accomplish more in short little bursts with that. Definitely my muscles were fatigued afterwards. So I had a lot of the shaking. I was breathing heavy, kind of typical when you have that increased cardio. Maybe if I would have slowed down on my jog, I could have calmed that down a little bit. But I definitely could feel the heart pumping. The blood was flowing out to those major muscle groups, kind of in that survival mode feeling. My breath rate actually pushed out between 19 to 22 breaths per minute, and that was in the initial stage of like catching my breath. That's pretty normal for a respiratory rate. My heart rate got up using my Garmin and my Whoop strap up to about 135 beats per minute, 140. Takes a lot for me to get into the actual 170 to 180, getting into that zone 4-ish type level for cardio. But definitely noticed a difference in my chest and my arms, because I started switching into the tricep push-ups, trying to work the system a little there. But when we talk about some chronic adaptations that within these systems, the neuromolecular, the cardio, and the respiratory could occur, is the growth of the heart, right? We're increasing the heart and the size, longevity. We're also looking at VO2 max increase, the oxygen in the blood, getting into the lungs, and then increase long-term loss of motor skills, hypertrophy, and then get those gains. So it's just a little bit from the self-assessment this week, kind of while having a little bit of the after effects of COVID. So I hope you enjoyed.